Hello, everybody. This is Glenn Lilly stepping in for the great Jim Quinn. Oh, well, wait a minute. I gave the wrong greeting there. We have a special guest tonight, so let me start that again. Hello, Lou. Hello. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only, Lou Piccone.
Hello, Glenn. How are you? From Lou. There you go.
Hey, thanks everybody for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Quick.
Anyway, all kidding aside, folks, this is a real treat. Lou Piccone is a Vineland born and bred man. He hasn't eaten bread in years. He's trying to stay in some kind of shape, and he actually, though, just in his spare time, was an NFL standout ball player and put Vineland on the map, Cumberland County also. And we are so pleased that there's a variety of things that he's here for. In fact, we're here live on Wednesday evening. We just came from Vineland High School where Lou addressed the entire football team. It was magical. Lou, talk to us about that. What were you feeling there?
I felt like I was at home, okay? I mean, coming back after so many years, you might think that I'd feel like I was out in left field, but I spent so many hours training at that field, okay, with a good friend of mine, Greg, and we will talk to him in a few minutes. But it was wonderful. It really was wonderful to have an opportunity to share what I learned about myself. Okay, what I learned about how I worked under pressure and things of that nature, and it was pressure. It was pressure. No, it wasn't. I lied. It was not pressure. It was just like I was home with my family. Vineland is family, and the football players. I wanted to make sure that they understood, what it's about. The basics, the fundamentals on how to get to the to your next level.
What I noticed the whole team was there, and what I noticed was that nobody scratching their neck or something. They all were really keyed in on you. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, I wanted to get their attention. I wanted them to know who I was and what I accomplished and the real chore it was, to make the NFL from where I came from. I want them to understand that's a lot of hard work and a lot of diligence, and and paying attention to fundamentals, and also if it wasn't football, they should definitely take the time, okay, to get an education and find their passion, because my passion was football.
Well, I want to really kind of bring it all the way back to the beginning of how, and you did have many hurdles to go over, but I do want to just give a little idea to the audience what's going on for you this week, Lou, which is well-deserved, every bit of it. Tomorrow night at the Eastland Golf Course and the Greenview Inn, we're having a very lavish dinner. I believe it's a 5-course meal, no buffet, and very, very limited seats left. But if you're out there, folks, and you want to attend this thing, it's going to be one heck of a night. I'm going to give you a number you could call. That number is 856-692-1111. 856-692-1111. And you'll be talking to Sheena Santiago, who has done one heck of a job putting that together, amongst other things, which Lou includes. I jumped over something that's happening tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. This man is going to have a street named after him tomorrow.
That's amazing. That absolutely is amazing. I'm flabbergasted. The fact that the city of Vineland thinks that much of me to name a street. And actually, the street is right behind, the stadium.
The Guitone Stadium.
Yeah.
It's at Southwest Avenue and Montrose Street. So if you folks are around tomorrow, please feel free to stop by. That should be really exciting. And you mentioned City of Vineland. Yes, this is a City of Vineland project. Sheena Santiago is working through the efforts and the green light of Mayor Finucci
Right.
who wants this done right, and we're making that happen. Back to that dinner, it would be $75 a head, but let me tell you, it is a magnificent dinner. Also, we're going to be joined by a lot of the kids that he was talking to today on the football team, so they'll be there to enjoy it also.
Yeah, I think the coach,
Dan Russo.
Dan Russo, a very nice man. It's the first time I met him, and he was really pleased that he had the opportunity to address the team today, and just really let him know that there's opportunity when you take a look at me. You would probably say, "Now, what team did you play for?" I don't think so. And bottom line is that if you really truly want to, you can. You just got to commit, and you got to go the distance, it can be various distances that you have to go.
And many hurdles.
Yeah.
The other one I want to mention is something that's happening on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on October 1st, this Saturday. The All Sports Museum of Southern New Jersey, which is in Bridgeton, behind the Bridgeton High School. I've been to many of their events. Folks, if you haven't been to one, you owe it to yourself. It's a great museum, mostly of locally born stars, but they also reach out once in a while and maybe get a very popular Philly or 76 or whatever. But Lou will be inducted along with another former Vineland resident, longtime Vineland resident, Mr. Greg Zyla, a racing, aficionado, and also dear friends of all of us, and Greg will be joining us in a bit. And Greg Geraci will also be here with us a little later. We just want to be they want to confuse me as possible. Greg, and they're both going to say what? And it's ridiculous. But they're just testing me. It's George. And by the way, George Kusha, I'm sorry. George, this is a little reuniting for he and I. We were doing local TV, oh my gosh, back in, I think FDR was in office. But George always does a great job, and later on he's going to be flashing some of those game film of you and some other things, and we'll roll in with that. But Lou, let's go back to kind of the beginning, if you will, or I should say to you that when we called you and told you about this, folks, I'm not making this up. He obviously was very pleased and honored, but right away he said, "Glenn, Sheena, I want to come down there and talk about my family. I want to talk family because that's how this happens." He said, "And I want to talk to, the current football team if possible, youth, because in my post-career, I've done a lot of things in the community." We assured him that would happen, and it already started happening. And Lou, if I'm not mistaken, you started playing football officially at Vineland High School not until your senior year, and even that year it wasn't a full season because you had an injury. So you played 1 year of high school football?
Basically, that was it. I had gone to Sacred Heart for 10 years and played basketball. Was always athletically inclined, and of course my family is they believed in athletics so much that on my father's side, he had brothers that all played a sport, and they did it well. My father was involved with athletics for 6 decades, actually 7 decades, and and he did it. He did it because he loved the game. He loved what it did, and he loved what it represent in life. The challenges and the ability to overcome, and dedication and loyalty. Okay, and basically improving yourself and winning and losing, being able to lose gracefully and win gracefully. All those things counted and mattered to him, and he spent his lifetime transmitting those elements and trying to get young people to understand just how important family values are, and sports does really teach that.
And your dad was a respected boxer in his day. He had a magnificent record.
He had a wonderful record. He was a knockout artist, okay, and I never fooled with him, but and he also was a trainer for Ed Loudon. I guess the story goes something like this: that Loudon coached everything, I believe, back in the 20s and early 30s, and the football team was working out at Landis Park, and my father was over there and saw him, and he offered his services to Coach Loudon to help, because he noticed that there wasn't anybody taking care of injuries or things of that nature. So he offered to help, and from that he spent, like I said, 7 decades working with athletes, or 6.5 or whatever it was. And they're working with athletes and his brothers, and they were state champions, the championship teams, and things like that.
I recall vividly him at Sacred Heart. Everybody called him Uncle Lou, and
Right.
one of his other specialties, I guess it comes from the boxing time, he could wrap.
He could tape anything.
Ankle, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, he could tape anything, and if you got injured and you needed to play, he would wrap it for you. So it was something that he taught me, and he would come. I played minor league ball. He would come and tape my ankles, he would tape our team's ankles, and he'd tape the other team's ankles, just basically because he could, and there was nobody really doing it. So he offered. My dad was just amazing. He was an amazing guy. He was my hero. All right, and my mother was too. I don't want to leave her out, because in Vineland, she was the pair really had so much to offer to the community, and they did it from their heart. So I'm blessed. I was blessed to have such wonderful parents, and family.
I don't want to mislead the audience. Even though Lou just played the 1 year of high school ball, he was also a gifted athlete in other areas. In fact, Greg Zyla is here tonight. He'll be able to clue you in on some of that, some of the...
Well, let me tell you where it started. I played midget league ball, okay?
That's true.
I played midget league ball, and we went to it was the Glass Bowl, and they came in from Boston. Okay, and we played the Glass Bowl, and I was in that game, but I don't remember much about that game. But then we played the Bean Bowl in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was a quarterback, if you believe that, and we won that ball game, and I got the MVP, and that sort of set me up for the success. All right, and I really enjoyed the success and the challenge, and naturally the winning of that and the notoriety. That was something that it could be a once in a lifetime, or you could carry it on if you found your passion, and I found my passion.
So, okay, so you have that 1 year of high school football. Fair to say that you didn't necessarily have colleges knocking on your door, because you're there just...
I wasn't going to go to college, Greg.
And
Glenn, I wasn't going to go. And my father knew how important a college education was to him, okay? And what he thought, what I would be missing if I didn't go get an education. It was so very valuable for him. And he was in pursuit of education his entire life, okay? And so when a very good friend of the family saw me play, his name was Julio DeSanctis. Now, I didn't know Jules, but my father knew the family. And Julio called my dad. He saw me play at the Millville game, and he said, "I think your son could play ball at West Liberty." Is where he went. He was a wrestler. I think he could play. And I said, and my dad said, "Oh, really?" So it ends up that West Liberty is where he went, and that's where I ended up going because of football. All right, only because of football, because I could go there and possibly play. So that began the march as a walk-on. Okay, so that sort of details that name, the walk-on.
And for you football fans out there, you certainly know what a walk-on is, but those who are not schooled in that area, making any team as a walk-on is like when playing a lottery ticket. I mean,
basically,
and that was the first of the walk-ons you did, and so you played there, I believe from '68 to '71, and then you didn't get necessarily any offers from the pros at that point, so you decided to play some minor league football.
Yeah.
Youngstown, Ohio Hard Hats. My God, what was that like?
Well, the first thing is that at West Liberty we went to the Nationals, okay, and I was a running back, and I did well, but I was small. I was 165 pounds, 5'8.5" running back, and so when it was over, I asked the coach that what do you think, Coach? What's the difference between me and let's say an Archie Griffin? Okay, and I asked somebody that same question not too long ago, and they said, "How about 2 Heisman trophies?" I said, "Well, that sounds good, but how long did Archie play?"
You played longer.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
But that was what I was trying to figure out. So it really wasn't the who you are. It's what you do about getting to where you want to be. So that he said, Coach. I asked the coach. I said, "What do you think, Coach?" And and I was his first Hall of Fame player, the Coach Bob Rowe. And I went in that Hall of Fame, and he said, "I just think you're probably too small." So I said, "Okay." And the team that was there was the Wheeling Ironmen. They were associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I knew a lot of the guys, and so I was going to go try there, but they folded. Okay, and so then I just gave it up and went home. And then I get an errant phone call from George Rodak, who says that he wants me to play for Youngstown, Ohio, this Youngstown Hard Hats. And I said, he said, pro ball. And I said, George, I said, I'm not really a fan. I don't follow. I just play, I said, but I do know that there is no pro team called the Youngstown Hard Hats. I said, you mean semi-pro? He said, yeah. So what are you paying? He said $50 a ball game if you start.
Oh, no, hold on a second. You said 50, like 50.
50.
Lou, you made more on your Vineland Times Journal paper
route. Yeah.
$50.
Yeah, and so I said, George, I get it, George. You want me to come from South Jersey, Vineland, New Jersey, to Youngstown, Ohio for $50 a ball game. Hey, George, I'm teaching school. I got a degree. I'm teaching school. So, what? Then he said the magic words. But, Lou, we're scouted. We're scouted by Cleveland. We're scouted by Pittsburgh. We're scouted by Cincinnati. And I said, then my heart started to beat. And I said, wow. I said, that interests me. I'm not done with football yet, and I wanted to find out. I think every athlete wants to know, that how far they could go. Just what's the difference between this level and that level? And so he says, then my father's sitting there, and I said, I don't know, George. I'll call you back. So I get off the phone. My father looks at me and he goes, who was that? Because my father also had the same kind of conversations with his brothers because he was the oldest. Okay, and Camille and Pick and Tony and those guys, they all wanted to play sports, and they were pretty good. So bottom line was, he said to me, who was that? I told him. He said, what do you want? He said, he wanted me to come and play ball over there. He said, oh, for how much? He said, $50 a ball game. He goes, Jesus, son. He says, $50 a ball game? What are you, crazy? He said, look, son, look, you got your education, don't you? You got a job. Yeah, I do. So. You got hurt a lot too, because as a running back, okay, I did. I got a pretty good beat with the triple option. So then he looks at me and goes, "Look, son, it's time to use your brain instead of your brawn. And besides, you're too small."
Whoa, how about that?
And I said to him, I looked at him, and that really hit me. I said, "Is that what you think, Pop? Is that what you really think? Then you say those words." You don't know what they mean yet, okay? But you say those words, and I'm saying them to my hero, which I didn't know at that time either, okay? I said, is that what you think, Pop? Well, we're just going to have to find out about that, okay? And that sealed my fate. That locked my soul down. My spirit was tied up with finding out what I had. And then my father and my uncles, they all took it. I mean, they took it real serious, and so that's what happened. I started. I had no clue what to do. I mean, there was no book on it. right? There's no book on how you make the NFL, being my size. So I took it as a challenge, and I defined the challenge that I was going to take it to the nth degree, to somebody that knew what they were talking about, would evaluate me and tell me to go home or I make it.
Well,
that was it.
This sounds like the perfect cliffhanger time. I think we're going to take a short break, and you're going to hear Lou talk about how he then catapulted into the NFL itself. It's fascinating. Hang in there with us.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Are you ready to go green and cut down on your electric bill? Then there is only one call you need to make. Soaring Solar is your complete source for solar, including new roof installations. Soaring Solar is a veteran-owned and family-run company. Call the Soaring Solar family today and talk with one of our solar consultants. For a free estimate, call Soaring Solar today at 609-270-7759. Or find them on the web at www.soaringsolar.com.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Okay, welcome back, folks. Thanks for staying with us. Back with our main man here, Lou Piccone. We're honoring him all week through a variety of events throughout Cumberland County. And before the commercial, we were going over the fact that you were playing in that minor league scenario. And yes, before we jump to your first, NFL job, why don't you give us a little flavor of how that went with what Youngstown, Ohio Hard Hats?
Well, I decided that, so I started to train. That's the first thing, and it was really, I got back on the phone right away and called George because my father just, he just put that, the idea that I'm too small. Okay, we're going to find out. I call him back immediately. I said, George, this is Lou Piccone. I said, you got a workout program? He said, yeah. I said, well, send it because I'll be there. When's the season? Okay, so that sort of set it. And my father, I didn't know exactly what he thought then, and then I started to work, and so it was a 3-session day. It would be I get up because I didn't know what to do, so I started to run distance for endurance. Okay, then I would go to work. I'd come home, and then I would go to the Y. I would train at the Y, lifting weights and so forth, and then I'd go over to the track. Okay, at Vineland High School, and then that was about almost an hour and a half workout every day at the track. That's the program he sent me. So when my father saw me start to train like that, he got in my corner. Okay, and so then he would come out with my Uncle Tony, and it would be this roundabout. And then there's a friend of mine that'll be on in a bit, okay, and we trained together because he was a track man, okay, and a javelin thrower, and he was training for for the Olympics. There wasn't anybody training for who's training for pro ball and who's training for the Olympics. The fellow's name is Greg Zyla. What a fine gentleman, and also he's a coach, a heck of a coach today. But he also was a heck of an athlete. And so this started it, and so I went and I played at Youngstown, and I also was going to change positions. Okay, so I started working at wide receiver because I didn't believe that I could take the punishment, as a running back. So I started to make the transition to wide receiver, but I didn't know. I'm wearing glasses. I'm still wearing glasses, and and so that's not a really good thing. So you got to adapt. So you start to adapt, and then learning wide receiver. And so I had a good season. We won. I think we're undefeated. All right. And I started to play wide receiver, still played running back, and I returned kicks and covered kicks and punts. And so at the end of that, I wrote 28 teams. Okay, and
Really?
28 wrote back. Don't call us, we'll call you, except for 3. And that was the year of the strike. They were coming into the strike year. Okay, so they started that. And I went through these free agent tryouts and a lot of things, and I ended up with the Jets, and I ended up in their camp.
Well, let's just slow down for there. Like, when you talk about being a walk-on, when you go to one of these camps, that's got to be, like I said, the lottery ticket. And
500 guys on their lunch break from McDonald's. That's what it looked like. Everyone, I tried out, right?
But and you covered it very well. But I want to really hammer this home, folks. I mean, to have the tenacity and the persistence to say, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this. And like you said, you didn't necessarily have a program to do it, and you just kept going for it. And knowing as a walk-on, the shot was probably not, huge. And yet, I mean, this is the Lou Piccone life. I mean, nothing came easy, it seems to me.
No, nothing came easy, but I didn't know any better. Okay, if you don't know what you don't know. Right, and if I'm gonna, and you only have a certain time to do this. I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait any longer. Most of the guys are coming out of college. They're going in, they're drafted and so forth, and they start playing right away.
So you walk out there and you see all these guys out there from all different sizes and places. What are you doing now to psych yourself up? Do you say like, I'm better than these guys? What are you talking about? Or what was like your way of approaching it? Would you say?
I wanted to find what's the ticket. What are they looking for? What do you have to have? Well, if they have to have a lot of height and and brawn, I'm going to lose there. The only thing that really made sense to me was speed. Okay, and that's what I found out when I started moving around. It was speed. So you get an eye catcher. Okay, but that's fine. You can go from point A to point B. Then what do you do then? Okay, I mean, and so special teams was ends up being a real niche because you have a lot of speed, but then you have to have a tenacious. You have to have a tenacious attitude and no fear. You can't have fear. Okay, and there was a friend of mine that I met at Joe Namath's football camp when I was doing these different camps to get in, and his name was Pete Athos. So what I did was I asked Pete. I said, Pete, what really, you're playing, because he came out of the same situation where he played minor league ball, played in Orlando, Florida, and the Orlando Panthers, and he was playing with the Giants. So I asked Pete. I said, Pete, what's the ticket? He said, the more things you can do, Lou. Okay, so I took that to heart, and so special teams was nobody wants to do special teams. I mean, it's a way for those people on the edges, okay, to get involved and stay, and then if you can help the team win, well, then maybe you can get a spot, you can get a position. So that was really my ticket, all right? Making transitions, I became a skill thief because there wasn't anybody coaching it. There wasn't anybody really, at that point, coaching wide receivers to tell them how to do it.
Give me
They can
that
tell
too.
you what to do, but they couldn't tell you how to do it.
Give me that phrasing, a skill thief?
Skill thief.
Talk to me about that. What is that? Skill thief.
Well, that meant that I didn't know what I was doing, so I looked at those people that did.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, you get it? And so I evaluated that,
Right.
and I took it from my own. Now, they didn't know I was doing that, because
Yeah.
I probably would have got sued. No, I'm only kidding you. It's the mind's eye, okay? So I would learn, okay, on how to run routes, and also I got contacts, so that sort of helped too.
The glasses look was now no
it
longer
was a
part
little-
of your.
Yeah, I got
there.
contacts, so I started to look a little bit more like a receiver too. And so that first year, was a roundabout, and I went to these free agent tryouts, and don't call us, we'll call you. The 3 that I went to, the Jets really gave me a really good look, okay, and then they cut me. But what I believe is that they signed me to a contract, okay, but they never turned it in, okay. This is what I believe. They never turned it in the league. So if they don't do that, you never hit the waiver wire.
Okay.
And I was starting to get pressed because of my speed, and that's what I worked on every day, repetition, okay. And I got it down to where I was running 4.4. And I'd bang a 4.3 something, okay. And Greg will tell you, because Greg worked with me all the time, and that's what I specialized in. And so when I got to the Jets, I mean, I said, what's the matter? Can't you guys tell time? I said it's going to be that way, And they said, well, if you're this fast, how come we didn't see you? And then so the bottom line was, we like you, we'd like to keep you, but we can't. This is Weeb telling me, Weeb Eubank, but we can't. If you get hurt today, we got to sign you, and we'd like to bring you back. This meant absolutely nothing to me. Okay, I said, well, you got to, listen, let me at least show you what I can do. Let me scrimmage. I was in there for a week, right? And bottom line to that was, they cut me, so I ended up going down to Bridgeport. Negotiating my second contract for $60 a ball game.
Oh, boy.
But now I had incentives. I talked to Frank Hi-Ho D'Addario, okay, with the Bridgeport Jets. And he owned resorts.
He owned the Claridge, and I worked there.
Well, it was the resorts before it was the Claridge, wasn't it?
No, it was a different place. But he was there, and when Del Webb could not get licensed in Atlantic City, here comes, and people said, why are you called the Claridge Hotel in Hi-Ho Casino? What the hell does that mean? And yes, we had to have Hi-Ho crackers, even though he didn't own them. Yeah. That's another whole night of stories. We don't have to go there. But yeah, he was that was the gentleman. Folks, you're getting the inside skinny on how you make. This is incredible. Your whole route to this. So
I sat down with Frank, and I said, "Okay, wow. Frank, look, I can't play. I already did that. And I play a lot of things." And I said, "So what can we work out here?" I said, "I know what I'll do. We'll get some incentives. For every downfield block I make, okay, I want you to give me $10. For every punt I catch, I want you to give me 25. For every one I run back, okay, and get more." So I put all these different things in, and so now when we're watching the films, I got the camera was watching me, because I had to bribe the cameraman so he didn't watch. I'm only kidding, but that was sort of the joke to get.
I wonder if anybody had ever taken that approach. This sounds like a Lou.
This was a Lou Piccone,
and no one to this day has done this.
No, but when you spend 1 year, then you spend 2 years in the minor leagues. Yeah. Well, you know what NFL stands for? Not for long, okay? The average lifespan was 3.4 years. Well, I already had spent, by the time I'm done the second year in the minor leagues, I've already spent 2 years in the minor league. That gives me 1.4 to play, and I didn't make any money yet.
Well, right? You're allowed to fast forward for the folks at home. The man made it for 10 years. And most people, what was the average of those years? 2, 3 years, 4 years a player?
3.4 was 3.4 was the average,
in the most dangerous positions on the field.
Yeah, that was and so finally, I played another year. They sent Matt Snell. You remember who Matt was, right? And so they sent Matt Snell down to sort of scout
Scout,
me.
yeah.
To scout me. And then, of course, by then I was returning punts, returning kickoffs, cover. I wasn't doing any coverages, but I was playing wide receiver and running back. Okay, so, and I was doing well. And we had an undefeated season that year, too. I think we maybe lost one game, okay, with Bridgeport. Then after that, I signed a contract, and I made it in the NFL, and ended up playing a lot of special teams for the Jets.
I think what we can do now, let's get some, I know we got some photos we can queue up from your Jets experience. Now, you were Jets at that time. Joe Namath was still there, right?
Namath was there. The Jets weren't very good at the time. I think maybe they had won 4 games, and then I came in. There was another fella that came in from from Kansas City. He was drafted by Kansas City, Mike Adamley. Okay, so Mike and we were on special teams, and we played the first 4 games on the road, I think, because of Shea Stadium and baseball. We came back, and this is where the element of applause, okay, rings out so loud. All right, Mike and I were wedge busters. Okay, wedge looks like this. 4 guys in front of the runner, and they're all linebacker size to lineman size, okay, in front of the ball carrier. They move the wedge wherever the ball carrier is. And my job and Mike's job was to bust the wedge, okay, to take it out. They've since then outlawed that. You can't do the wedge anymore. So me and Mike were coming back to New York, and we're saying, to play the home opener, and we're saying, we got to do something, Mike. We got to do something to win a ball game. I said, I'll tell you what we do. We go down and we hit the wedge. Whatever happens, take the most the most advantage of it, and we'll make something happen. So we opened up, and Mike and I were R1 and L1, puts us right in the wedge. We take off. We run as fast as we can. Mike hit it high. Mike hit it low, took it out, and I went up and over. Stoned the ball carrier. He fumbled the ball, and I recovered it. Okay, wow. And all of a sudden, right? I'm hearing boo, boo, boo. I'm looking at Mike and looking at me, and I'm saying, "What do you got to do? What do you got to do around here to get some applause?" And then what you heard was, Lou. It wasn't boo. It was Lou. And I'm saying, and as I'm coming off, Namath's coming on, right? Because we got the ball, and he goes out and he comes by and he looks at both me and Mike, and he goes, "Ain't that the damnest thing I ever seen?" Right? And he goes to the sideline, and from that, Paul Zimmerman took a hold of it, and he liked that. The tenacity and the fact that we won that ball game, and then we won the last 6 in a row. And me and Mike, we were now termed the Bonsai Boys, okay, the Kamikaze Kids, or the Mick and Pick Show, okay, because we would bust anything up. It was either it turned into either a bottle in front of me or a frontal lobotomy, one of those, because that's what you had to do to do those things.
Before we go to a break, let's flash a few more of those Jets things up there. I know we didn't comment on that first one. You can move up there, George. There we go. Know what's going on here?
Well, I just got up in the air. I was just coming down. I jumped over somebody. All right, and as you see, I'm going head first into the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, and. That's Gordy Brown on the ground there, and he was making like 7 times the money I was making, and I just a point, point that out. Right. And this is a kickoff return, which I led the NFL in kickoff returns with 1,000 yards. And if you notice,
there's no blockers.
There's no blockers in there. Either they're trying to tell me something, or I don't know exactly what that is, but that's me taking the licks and getting on with it. Okay.
My goodness, look at that.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that people don't really understand the dimensions of the game and what special teams means, because if you're not good at special teams, you lose ball games. That's a transition game.
I've watched so many football games with other people, and when they see the way you guys get hit, there's always somebody in the room saying, like, I get hit like that, I'm in the hospital for 6 weeks.
That one shot that George put up with the busted nose and the cage, that was a punt return. That helmet was not my helmet, okay? And the fella who gave me that helmet, I took from him because they were supposed to have double teams on the outside. We got beat, I don't know, 47-6 or something like that, some preposterous thing. And that was the last ball game I ever played with the Jets. And I caught the ball, and a guy named Melvin Morgan came right through my face mask, broke my face mask, broke my nose, and I was unconscious, okay, on the field. Dr. Nicholas came out, and he said, I'm laying there, and he said, he's bleeding from his nose, he's bleeding from his mouth, and he's bleeding from his ear, okay, because that's where the blood was running, you know. And I said, "Oh man, I was half awake," and I said, "Oh man, that sounds to me like a cerebral hemorrhage. I think I better say something to somebody. I may be dying here, you know." And they carried me off, all right. And the special teams coach was what was his name? Joe Gardy, and. He was laughing. And I'm looking at him, and in so many words, I said to him, "What are you laughing at?" He said, "You didn't drop the football."
I think that's all.
That's all he cared about. I didn't put that ball on the ground. I had a broken nose, and you know, by rights, Paul McGuire was doing that game, and he said, by rights, he should be dead. Okay, but in the opening second half, I got the helmet back, and the fellow who took care of me, who hit me, I hit him. Just you know, and I caught him because I went across and I.
There's an extra gleam in your eyes when you said that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it was sort of like tit for tat, you know.
All right, listen, we're going to take another break now, and when we come back, we'll talk about your very interesting Bills career from 77 to 82. The Jets was 74 to 76.
Right.
And after that, too, we'll bring a couple of your buddies on who are going to be here for all the festivities that we mentioned earlier. So Take a break and stay right there, folks, and stay with us. A lot more to talk about.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans, and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Well, Wildflower Vegan Cafe is one of the longest-running all-vegan eateries in the state, and the only one in South Jersey to feature so much local and organic produce, where everything is made in-house from scratch. We have a small seasonal menu that changes frequently. We can always find healthy, hearty salads, wraps, soup, and baked goods, all made in-house.
In South Jersey, we do things our own way. We say things out loud, face things head on, and never back down. And that's how we fight cancer. With the most advanced diagnostics, leading-edge technology, and a team of doctors who know how to treat your cancer. And most importantly, we do it right here at the Frank and Edith Scarpa Cancer Center, Vineland, and the Leading Edge Cancer Center, Mullica Hill.
Okay, folks, Glenn Lilly back here, again pinch hitting for Jim Quinn, who, by the way, is recuperating quite well. He had a little bout of some high blood pressure that was getting a little out of control there, and just chatted with Jim the other day. He said not to worry, he's going to be fine. I'm encouraging him to go nice and easy, don't jump back into the craziness. But anyway, we all love Jim and certainly are happy to see that he's overcoming that time of some problems there with his blood pressure. Anyway, also we're here visiting with Lou Piccone, who had many years, 9-10 years in the pros, NFL, remarkable, especially for the 9 or 10 positions that he played, plenty of hits and blows everywhere. While he's in town, just real quick again, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., Southwest Avenue, Montrose Street. Folks, if you want to stop by there, a street being named after him. Well deserved. Again, a Vineland boy from way back. I'm so happy that the mayor of Vineland and others saw fit to do this. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Eastland Golf Course and Greenview Inn, $75 a ticket. If you want to come, it's a 5-course meal. Lou will be talking. We'll have a bunch of folks up there and some other surprises. 856-692-1111. 692-1111. If you want to get those last-minute tickets. And lastly, this Saturday, October 1, the All Sports Museum of Southern New Jersey, a magnificent place right in back of Bridgeton High School. Great museum. Lou and a future guest of ours in just a few minutes, Greg Zyla, will both be inducted into that great place. Lou, thought came to me after we talked about that last image you gave of when you get hit that hard and the blood and everything else. I see you guys get hit. I just wonder, like, I know you said you can't have fear. You can't have fear.
Right.
But when you get hit like that, you get clobbered. And you get up and you move to the next play. Please talk to me a little bit about that phenomenon.
I got hit so hard when I played in college. It was actually a college game, the last game that I played we were vying for the Nationals. And I was returning kicks, and they had assigned 2 people to me. Okay, when I brought it out, these guys were going to be there. Well, they hit me so hard that I didn't remember anything, and I got sick. I got sick to my. So it was a pretty serious concussion. But in those days, they really didn't do much about it. You know,
they used to say you got your bell rung.
You got your bell rung, and so the bottom line to that is, I had questions about my ability to play again, okay? And when I went to the semis, okay, the semi-pros, the first time I got out there, I felt it. I was scared. And I didn't want to run it back. And I said to myself, at that point in time, you make a decision. I can't do this. Or I will do this, and I will do it because I want to do it, okay? And I can't have fear. You can't have any fear. So I did it and overcame it at that point in time. In my life, that was a crucial moment that I said, ain't nobody going to intimidate me, period. That was it. You can play through it. And I adopted that. And play through it.
Well, let's George, let's get some Bills footage now, because that's where you. You certainly made your mark with the Jets, but the Bills is the longer run, and I know you had a lot of really key moments. So maybe we can jump into that a bit. And there you go. There's the. Talk to us what's going on here, Lou.
Well, it's the I don't. This is the.
Been deemed expendable by the Jets. The 30-year-old vet from West Liberty.
Looking at me running a route, getting into the open area, all right, and basically catching the ball.
All right, there's a pass, and there, wow, he threaded the needle there quite
Yeah, he did.
well.
And he extended the play, and that is where you just keep on going, and that's the lose. Okay, that's the lose, and that was the adrenaline that would enable me to play my entire career. Okay, with certain challenges, and the crowd appreciation for a special teamer that now was coming into his own as a receiver, but still playing special teams. So when you look at teams, you got the kickoff returns, the punt returns, the coverage teams, both kickoff and punt coverages. And now I was playing receiver, and I was playing all 5 receiver positions, okay, X, Y, Z, half, and fullback as a receiver, and that really was challenging.
Well, right behind us, the nice backdrop tonight is of the Bills Stadium. Now, capacity was like crazy. Wasn't it like 80,000 or
80,000, yeah.
So at any given point, there might have been the bulk of 80,000 people saying Lou.
Yes, and Howard Cosell was doing some of the games, and he would say, "Fans, they're not booing, they're looing."
Yeah.
That's what came out of that. But that was part and parcel of me being able to play at that level for the money that you're making, and putting it all in the right frame of mind.
But if I may fast forward in this sense, with your Buffalo Bill career, I know for the longest, I think even now, I think it's safe to say Lou was and is a folk hero there because of the ethic, the work ethic, and I mean he excited these fans. You were telling me about a guy that you were going in the tunnel after a game or something, and he stopped you and asked you if he could talk to you, and he said something to you that meant more than maybe anything that any fan ever said. Can you recreate that for us?
Yeah, he came up to me and he said, "You got a minute, Lou?" It was a really tough day, and I said, "Sure." And he said, he had binoculars on, right? And so he said to me, he said, "Lou," he said, "You know why I got these on?" I said, "Probably." I said, "I don't know. I probably watched the ball game, get it up close." He said, "No." He said, "Look, I have these binoculars because I put these binoculars on you because I get my money's worth." Okay, and that was a compliment that really personified, what I did and what people thought of what I did. And then it's like Larry Felser, who was a writer, and he says, they ought to just pay Lou, give him what he wants, because he does all those grubby little things that just win ball games, that was fact, the versatility and the fact that they could play me at anything, and my attitude was such that I can help the team, and we can make something happen from wherever I am.
Now, you had many good years, but talk to us about the 1979 season. I believe that's the year you really just shined brightly.
That's the year that the wide receiver for me became very, very clear. And a lot of people got hurt. Matter of fact, the starting outside wide receivers got hurt, and then the halfback got hurt. Okay, and so what I did was I went from one to the other, and and I could do that at any time. So it gave me a mindset. Well, I have to be like the quarterback because I've got to know all of the routes for all of the plays at any time, and I've got to interpolate it, for that defense. So I have to look at it from that standpoint where I can be any of those. And it didn't really make me happy for having all that responsibility, but it really did clarify that the versatility and the invaluable things that a guy, a versatile guy like a Tasker or Welker, Amendola, Welker, Tasker. That I was before them.
You were like you were the pioneer, one of the pioneers of special teams.
Yeah, and Knox and Knox, who came in. I played.
Chuck Knox, the
yeah,
coach.
right. In the 10 years that I have accredited, I had nine different head coaches and interims, and it's a very difficult thing to be able to last and withstand that many changes.
One of the things I heard you say one day, I got a kick out of this. You said all these positions you played, and you literally would be in the clubhouse or whatever. You'd say to the coach, "Who am I this week?" And what did he tell you?
Well, I got an identity, Coach. I got an identity crisis. Who am I this week? And he said that. He looked at me and goes, "Just be ready.
Just be ready.
Just be ready."
Oh, hey, that's what they said in the corporate world. That's a whole different thing.
Be ready.
George, maybe just a little more footage there from the Bills, and then we will take a little break after that.
Why don't you play the sound behind it? I'll tell you about it.
Okay, yeah, you can give the sound on that, right, George? Here we go.
Wide open is Piccone. A flag is down, and it could have been a late hit on Ferguson because the flag came late. Piccone has the first down yardage. He's up around the 38-yard line. Interesting, the way they put Piccone in on short passing yardage situation.
That's Cosell.
The Steve tunnel from Clemson because Piccone is a hard-nosed, tough little guy and great on short passing yardage situations. He's on the head. Watch this. Quarterback in the head. Ferguson gets rid of the ball. Piccone over there. He hit right in the head. He didn't roll over in the middle of the play. Third down, 7. Now the 35-yard line. That's Bolton Walker. Kozlowski to their defensive secondary. 6 men back there. They bring Dewey on the blitz. Ferguson fires the ball complete.
Active game for you.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that really that I could and would play all those positions made it sort of a special slot. And not too many of those, not too many people want to come in and do all those type of things. So the value is there.
We could go on for days with some of the amazing things you accomplished. Just to kind of wrap it up a bit, because I want to go to our friends to come up here, and what I want to get into, folks, so you'll know, is to have Lou talk about his early days in our county here, in Cumberland County, and in Vineland, and how he trained, and the people like him. We got his favorite workout partners here, and Greg Zyla, and a young man who's going into the Hall of Fame with this Saturday, Greg Zyla. They knew each other like in third grade, and terrified the streets accordingly. So anyway, we'll get back to that. We'll take a nice break and come back for some more Lou Piccone adventures.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Are you ready to go green and cut down on your electric bill? Then there is only one call you need to make. Soaring Solar is your complete source for solar, including new roof installations. Soaring Solar is a veteran-owned and family-run company. Call the Soaring Solar family today and talk with one of our solar consultants. For a free estimate, call Soaring Solar today at 609-270-7759. Or find them on the web at www.soaringsolar.com.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Louis Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Louis Funeral Home, Vineland.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans, and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
That lovely Allen Associates ad. You want to play it about 3 more times, George? Anyway, I mentioned that we were to bring a couple of friends up here, very special to Lou for so many reasons. And I was thinking, in fact, if you want to get a little long shot of this, these 2 gentlemen here, Greg Zyla's on across from me there. Greg, we have 2 Gregs, so you can wave there. That's him. And, of course, Greg Geraci, we talked about him. Now, as I noticed, as I'm looking here, I said, well, you know something? I see the 2 guys that put up incredible numbers of hours of running, lifting weights, everything else. And Greg and I, we put in the same amount of hours eating scrapple and eggs over easy. 3 diners a night after. So, you know, we all have skills.
We did that.
We did.
All the skills, yeah.
You know what? Before we include these fellas and wherever we want to go with this, a little bit more on your career, and we can move on.
I'll wrap it up so
Please
you get
do.
an idea of what it was.
Sure.
Okay. Real quick. I came in the league. I played for 9 years on the field. I got 10 years credited because I was a player rep and executive committee member for the union. I came in as a scab and went out as an executive committee member for the union. Okay. I played for the 9 years that I actually played. Okay. I had 9 different head coaches and interims, and that's a very, very difficult thing to do, to play through that, because everybody wants to make changes. Okay, so we went 3-11. Well, excuse me, we went 7-7, 3-11, 3-11. I get traded to Buffalo, who was our highlight film. Okay, we beat Tampa Bay once and Buffalo twice, and I got traded to Buffalo, who only won 2 games. Okay, so that was really made me happy. So from there, okay, we played 1 year, and we really stunk out the joint. Okay, then the next year, but the Lou's kept coming. Okay, the Lou's always stayed there. Because I had a particular way of playing the game. I love to play the game, and it didn't make any difference. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to get the best effort out of me. So then Knox came, and he started building a winner. And this is what every player wants to. They wait for it, they play for it, to get a winner, to get an opportunity to go into the postseason, to play for the bowl. Okay, so 1979, I caught 36 balls in 5 games to seal that extra guy that just does it all. Okay, that versatility guy. I played all the special teams in that year. We almost went to the playoffs in '79. That was a knock. See, when he came, he built it with a lot of characters with character. Isaiah Robinson, Conrad Dobler, Phil Villapiano. All those guys came in, and they were all winners in their own right. Okay, and then we got to 1980. Well, 1980, we're playing San Diego. I catch the ball that gives us the opportunity to go into win the ball game, so we go into the playoffs. I caught that ball, okay, and they set me up. They set me up so they could take me apart. They faked the blitz. They backed out, and they suckered me because we sighted just. They suckered me into that. I knew it. Fergie threw it to me, and I got the first down over 2 guys in my face. Okay, took them both on, got the first down. That's the one year to get to the next level. Okay, and then in 1981, okay, I catch the ball that never counted. It was against Cincinnati. Too much time in the huddle. That ball if that ball counts, the ball that I caught counts. We go and we play. We play San Francisco for the Super Bowl.
Talk about heartbreak.
Okay? Yeah, and so that changes that changed the whole outlook of my career. But that's what happens. But we played. At least I got there. At least we got an opportunity to play. Almost for the bowl. Okay, and then the following accolades go to the Jim Kelly area where they went 4 times, but they never won it. Okay, but that's never going to happen again. So my thought is I played my heart out, to get to almost get there, and then it's over. And then, by the way, I came in a strike year, and I went out in a strike year. Now I'll tell you how this one happened. Okay, Kansas City, just before the strike, I'm running a route. I tear my toe off. I tore the pinky. Okay. I tore it off, and then so we go in halftime. I come out, they shot it up, okay, they taped it up, and I ran a crossing route. A guy named Spaney caught me up in the air, hit me here, drove me into the turf, blew 4 rib heads off the sternum, and cracked 3 on the other side. I think that I was. Matter of fact, the trainer came out. I'm laying there with my mouth wide open. Okay, the trainer, Eddie, comes out, and Bud Tyson come out, and I'm laying there, and he goes, "Oh, man, he's turning blue." And I said, "No kidding. I haven't breathed since you guys waddled out here." And then Eddie says to Bud, "Get the trach kit." Okay, and I said, "No way. You ain't traking me." I think I sucked the air out of the stadium. And that's how my career ended. I came in a strike, and struck out, because that was the end of Lou Piccone's career in 1982, because the strike year that ended it, and then we were done.
Well, you took in some magic oxygen, man, because you had one hell of a run. This is wow. Okay, and so have these 2 gentlemen. They happen to be longtime friends of yours, but they're also accomplished in their areas. Greg Geraci, your track and field is his specialty, although he played the other sports. He and I had a beautiful conversation earlier. It's amazing what this guy has done. The javelin, the shot put, the discus, and that's him. He is a performer, but as a coach, it's unbelievable how many champions you have trained, how many times you've won. Greg, you did the whole gamut, performed and taught, and you still teach, no?
Yeah, I'm a Millville.
In Millville now?
Millville Senior High School.
You want to move up a little bit so we can get you on
Millville Senior High School is a throws coach for the boys and the girls there too. I enjoy it. It's been my passion. I love giving back to the community and to the kids, and helping kids who that maybe couldn't get a scholarship, and pushing them to get that.
Yeah.
And as well, Maria and all these other athletes that I coached over the years. And people ask me, they said, what do you do it for? What do you get out of it? I said, you know what? It's not the money you get, because the amount of hours you put in, forget about it. But just to see it, the smile on a kid's face, they got a school record, become state champion, or got a full scholarship to a college. That's what it's about. That's what coaching's about, to help these kids to advance in their sport, to excel in academics as well. and athletics.
Well, the list is so long, we don't have time to read them all, but some of the state sectional champ, all-time world list, and on and on and on. Any of the above that really stands out in your mind that you're super proud of? Probably all the above, right?
What's that?
I said you're probably proud of all of them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I had two girls. I was fortunate, Maria Jimenez and Brielle Smith from Oakcrest. Maria was from Vineland. They were the only two girls in the state history that threw the javelin over 160 feet to this day. Maria back in 2012 with 160 and 3, and then Brielle Smith in 2017-18 broke Maria's record. She ended up throwing 168.8, which is going to stay there for quite a while. And very beautiful people. Their parents, their families are beautiful people. And Brielle's at Stanford University. And Maria went to Monmouth. Then she switched over to Tennessee. She got a full scholarship down there. So
Maria's mom works with us at Allen Associates.
Yeah, I know that.
Annie, and of course Ish is her father, Ishmael.
Yeah.
But what we can do now is the tie-in with you guys are many, but the real key one is the way you two guys worked out together for a long time, long stretches. He wants to get faster. And you guys pushed each other, fair to say?
I think so. I mean, when you're out there and you're training alone, of course, I was never alone because my father, my uncle, my family, they were behind me 100%. I mean, you could go to any of the games that were in the semi-pros or wherever it was, they were there. Okay, at one point or another. So I knew that they could and they would, just revel in my success. Okay, yeah. So that's really where that that is.
And what about this guy? Is he never stopped pushing, did he?
No, Louie's one of a kind, man. And it was funny because I just came off my best year throwing in 1973, and he lived right around the corner from me. Never knew. I walked into the Y one day. He's there lifting weights. I says, I know. I remember you from high school because he was an all-star track runner in the 100 and the 200, very fast. And he was a senior at the time. I came in as a sophomore. And I knew him, but I didn't know him like I know him now. And we start talking, start working out together. Then he said, well, I go to the high school over there. He says, I said, well, I practice there too. I throw there and go to my stuff here. So we got together. And then his father, God bless his soul, and his uncle, they were out there and they were pushing us. And he was doing his route patterns, and I was over throwing. And then next thing you know, I'm throwing him passes. He's running them down, and his dad was over timing us on the 40, the 100, I think the 200 also, right? Yeah. And then after everything we did with the extra genie and all, I mean, our tongues were hanging out, but we never gave up because, his heart, my heart, to be the best we could be, you can't find it. You can't buy that. It's you either have it and you push through it, through them thresholds, and having his father and his uncle there helping us, chiming us. And then after we retired, what did your dad do? He made us run to 440 yards. It's 440 now. I mean, fast. No slow. No slow.
Not by any means.
You come across that finish line like, oh my God, The next day it's over, am I right? The next day over and over. But you know what? I value those days because it taught me a lot. And like I said, his dad and his uncle, they trained us. And
what was so beautiful? Today, after Lou addressed the high school football team, Greg says, hey, you know what? It's right over there. Let's go look at the Wall of Fame and Hall of Fame of Vineland players. And folks, I tell you what, I'm a lucky guy. I got to witness this. The two of them pointing out almost every one of them. And Lou, here's a man that played 10 wild years, played with Joe Namath, O.J. Simpson, you name it. But he was rattling off those names of Vineland High School guys that he grew up with as well as Namath and the other ones. And you both had twinkles in your eyes. It was amazing. And I was so happy to see that. And the fact that you guys, the camaraderie is something that can never be taken away.
You can never. First of all, you can never go back.
Right.
First of all, you can never go back. So take the time, do it, get it done, put it aside, put it behind you, okay? And this way you'll have no regrets. And the bottom line to that, if I didn't make it, I would have no regrets because I gave it everything that I had before I moved on, you know, and that's saying something. And you're only young once. You can't do it. You can't do it. Well, I didn't do it at 20. I'll do it at 30. No, that ain't going to happen. So you either do it now, get it over with, and that's what I tried to impress upon the athletes today was get it done. Make a choice. Make a decision. Okay, find your passion. Try things, you know. That's the big.
And you
thing.
were talking even way beyond the possible football career or basketball. You were talking about life.
I'm talking about finding what your passion is, because if you do, it ain't work.
And speaking of that, a perfect segue to my good friend Greg Zyla, who affectionately known as the car guy. He knows everything about cars, a lifelong love of it, and the things he's done in the racing world, there's not one aspect that he hasn't touched, including inventing a game, the Valco Pro drag racing game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the beauty of it, guys. This is something that he loved from probably the time he was 30 days old, and he turned it into part of his career because he went into the newspaper business, very successful. How many people can say that? He turned like a childhood passion into almost every aspect of it. Announcing at the tracks, building his own funny car, racing, and his son, his good son, Tim, is here with him tonight. He raced, and I heard you say earlier, he was a better racer than me.
I'll tell you, Glenn, first I want to thank you all for having me tonight. I mean, Lou and I have been looking for this to happen. We were first inducted, I think, a year ago in Bridgeton, and but we had to postpone it. There was some illness involved, and then, Lou, you had an eye problem, and, you know, we never got it done, and so we're finally together. And just to mention about, you know, my son, you talk about a proud moment in your life. You know, when my son went out and he dominated, won 2 championships, IHRA, we went to Pittsburgh, we were like top qualifiers in our class, and he won a lot of races. And when you see your own flesh and blood beating some of the best that was thrown at us at the time in IHRA drag racing, there's nothing like it. I mean, to see the success of your own kid.
Right.
Well, guys, you're looking at a guy here, too, who made his way right into the industry. And I know you've interviewed everybody from Joe Gibbs. In fact, other huge names in the business, the saying had been, like, if Greg Zyla calls to interview you, don't blow it, because he has a lot of circulation.
That is true. That was with I was with several magazines at the time, and one of them was the business magazine, like the Barons of Auto Racing, Performance Racing and History, and I did the monthly question and answer interview. And I mean, Roger Penske, I mean, Joe Gibbs sent me a beautiful picture. I brought it to display on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday. I knew Lou has a bunch of stuff to display, and you'll get a little peek tomorrow at the dinner tomorrow night. But Saturday, we're going to have a lot of our collectibles, Lou will call, set up, and for everybody to take a peek at. I brought a copy of the game. I have a copy of a Joe Gibbs interview that I did, and he sent me the page, and he signed it, and, you know, said I did a, you know, good job, and a lot of stories to tell there. But I was very fortunate that everything I wanted to do in the auto and motor racing world, I ended up doing, and, you know, I am just so lucky to be one of the few that have driven so many different race cars. I was invited to so many schools. Now, I only actually drove one oval race officially, and I finished 5th out of 18 cars, and it was a heat in somewhere down around Lancaster, PA, and so I had one oval race, but many, many drag races. I had my own cars.
Let me ask you guys if you would like this job. I remember when he first started doing this, I said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? This man has driven approximately 1,650 brand new cars. How do you do that? Every week, the manufacturer would deliver a brand new car to him. I mean, I'm talking top of the line, everything. He'd drive it for a week and he'd review it. Thousands of people read it. I mean, this is like a dream job. It's crazy.
Dream job, and it all had to do with the circulation that a syndicated writer has at the time. If you can show millions of readers to anybody, and I mean, I got so many products sent to me in the mail I never even asked for, you know, waxes, shines, anything to do with cars. And I was blessed. I remember in 5th grade, I got up in front of Sister Claire DeChantal was her name. Went to Sacred Heart Grade School. Lou was over in 5B. I was in 5A. And I remember we had to get up in front of the class that day, and we had to tell the kids what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I will never forget it. I got up in front of the class. I said, I would love to drive race cars. I said, I love cars, and I'd love to drive race cars, and I'd also like to write about them, and so on. And not only did that come true, and Lou mentioned on it before, and we've had many private discussions about how to succeed. Right now, I might sound very successful. I was rejected for years, Glenn. My stories I would send into the magazines, we're not looking for any writers. Please don't stop. And finally, I said, I'm going to send you one more story, and it turned out on a car and driver that went out and won this gigantic race, the Knoxville Nationals, actually. It was a huge race, and here he's sitting with my story, everything about the driver, everything about the car. He ran it in the Circle Track magazine. It was one of the Peterson magazines, and I got paid for that big layout, took all the pictures myself, $800. This is 1985, I'm going to say, and kid in diapers running around. That was a lot. That was big money, but you see, I didn't give up. I actually always felt that I could do it, and then he oh my goodness, he assigned me stories, had me write editorials, and then my column in the newspapers was growing, so I had the best of both worlds. And the manufacturers, Glenn, they dropped off brand new cars every week, and it was I kept them for a whole week. I kept these cars for a whole week. And you know, they were lined up sometimes. They'd send
well, at the height of my casino career, he came down for one of our Sacred Heart reunions.
Yes.
And I don't know what kind of spectacular car he had. And I said, look, you know, usually I'm out there greeting entertainers and Joe Namath and people like that, but you come in and tell them you're picking me up, you know, just for the hell of it, see what happens. And I do remember, though, how, you know, I mean, people wouldn't believe it. Like some of our classmates, they said, "Wait a minute, Zyla."
They didn't believe it.
Because back in the high school days, and we're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get to the really fun stuff here. The man was one of the top pranksters that ever lived. You know, nobody better. And he trained me, and we both stayed out of prison. I don't know how we did that, but I'm going to see if maybe Lou, I don't know, maybe you're friend on this, but did you ever have this situation? Like I'd go visit him at his house, and his mother, Dolly, the greatest lady ever, we'd be in there talking, and his Uncle Joe and everything. I'd go, where's Greg? He'd always be in that driveway working on a car in some way, shape, or form, whether it was a blizzard out there or 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And one day he says, hey, Lil, come on out. I said, uh-oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
And he says, yeah, she's just about ready now, Lil. And he was fixing something. I know nothing about cars, but I just knew, like, you know, once in a while he'd drive me home. I get in the car, and he says, well, just, I moved the seat back. He said, you'll have enough room. I said, oh, that's very kind. He says, no. He says, you put your feet up on the, what was the...
yeah, on the footrest up on the right side of the passenger.
Why that? And I looked down. No floor.
No floor.
There was no floor in this car. He was not getting that deal with a new car a month or a week.
No, that was a 63 Chevy Impala. We had just put a T10 4-speed in it, and I had it all ripped up inside, and we took it out and tested it, and boy, it was coming up on old Lil, a little bit of the dirt and so on, but you hung in there. But I got to tell you this, the most important, the first time I ever drove an automobile, and Lou and I were very good friends. I mean, we knew the pinball circuit in Vineland better than anybody. We knew where every pinball machine was in the city, and we played them. And I'll tell stories about that Saturday. But basically, you know, you had to have a passion. You know, if you don't have the passion, it's not going to work. And the first time I ever drove a car in my life. We're over at Lou's house. And I remember we were playing with the wind-up little cars that he had, and then they'd zip around on the floor. And here's his brother Steve's 54 Plymouth is sitting out in the driveway. Now, Lou's house was beautiful. It had a circular driveway, and I remember when we would go in that front door, oh, it was gigantic, and there his mom would always be in the back cooking something, and, you know, it would be after school, and lo and behold, the one day we were there and Mom wasn't home, Steve wasn't home, either was Dad, but that 54 Plymouth was sitting in that driveway and the keys were in there. And Lou, it was very good at it. This is not the first time he drove. He's going around and around in the circle around his house. And I said, Lou, could you give me a shot at that? I'd love to try it. He said, Greg, I'm going to let you drive this car. And I'll tell you what, it was a three-speed on the tree, right? And I'm driving that car around. It's the first time I ever drove a car. He did tell me to slow down because I'd really get on it in that first gear, but he let me drive that car, and I'll never forget that car. I'll never forget Lou and I mean, every day after school, I would run with him to Landisville, right, for the movie theater. Yeah. And his family ran a movie theater, owned a little, it was like a 5 and dime next door, and, you know.
It was a little store, a general store next door.
And there was a pinball machine. So we would go over with his parents. We were probably 11 years old. We'd bum a couple cigarettes from the guy running the film, the projectionist. And he smoked Chesterfields, and we would play the pinballs. And to be inducted with him Saturday, and to see very, very favorable reaction to what this city is doing for the benefit of Lou. I know you, Glenn, worked very hard on it, and we have that young lady that we can't forget, and I think you mentioned her earlier. She did a great job, and, you know, the mayor, Sheena
Santiago.
Unbelievable.
She's put her heart and soul in it. But, you know, you mentioned before, let's not forget your mom. Why don't you do a little bit on that? Sheena, when she talked to Lou on the phone, telling him about these great awards, she said, Lou, I don't know you. She said, I kind of know you through your mother. And you went, what? How do you know my mother? You tell the rest.
Well, Sheena, you know, when I was introduced to Sheena, and knowing that she was sort of orchestrating and working this whole, you know, Vineland honor for me, she says, you know, I knew your mother. Your mother, she was a wonderful lady. She took care of me. She showed me, you know, lipstick and I mean, I'm not mocking. I'm just saying that, you know, that Sheena's, you know, a wonderful lady. And so she says, at one point, after you know, discussions and trying to get it all done, she says to me, you know, and she's tough. I mean, she's tough. She goes and gets it. She makes sure things are done. Yeah. She said, you know, Lou, look, I'm not doing it just for you, okay? I'm doing it for your mother. I know your mother, and I know your mother. She wants you to have a great day, and I'm going to make sure about that.
You know, when there's a lot of details in these kind of things, like I'd ask her a question or two, whatever, and she'd say to me, you know, I'm going to talk to the mayor. She said, the next time I do one of these, he says, I am not going to work with old men anymore. I'm looking around. I said, wait a minute, I'm the only guy in here. You talking to me? What is this?
She's wonderful.
She said,
she's wonderful.
And you know what? But it's interesting. When she said it's kind of true, she said, these kids today, she said, they're pretty fast. She says, I need some fast help, she says. And they know real quick. I said, all right, I got you. But while we're on that, we maybe do a little cross thing. And I like these local references. The people here that are listening, I know they like this. Your Greg Zyla memories when you guys were little kids. What comes to your mind, Lou?
Well, what comes to my mind is we used to play pinball, and we used to play pinball good, and we used to play pinball hot, and we used to do everything to get more games. Okay, but you know, so therefore, you know, the more you slow the ball down, so we started jacking the machine up. We jacking the machine up. We had the extensions, you know. But first we do that, and then it wasn't quite high enough, so then we take it a little bit more, and the ball would move, and we would bang out. We'd bang out, you know, put the number 20 games up top, you know, anytime we were getting. But then that's when I realized that what we were really doing was predicting my future, because I became came to pinball. Okay, and special teams. That's what I. Yeah, but that's you knock that ball around. That was actually me.
That was you.
And it's competition. I mean, it's always competition.
Oh, Glenn, we would do it in the spot. We would do it.
Oh my goodness, we would lift the machine up. We would take our shoes off. We would put our shoes underneath the pinball machine and get that ball slowed up enough. And the funny thing about the shoes, you remember the Garwood Mills opened up in Vineland? Yeah. And it was like a low cost, and I told my mom I wanted a pair of cheap shoes. And, well, they went out and bought me a pair of cheap shoes.
A pair of Bobos?
Well, hey, we were lifting those pinball machines up everywhere until they caught us and had to stop. And I remember my mom, after Lou and I had gone to several of those shoes, she goes, Mike, and that was my father, we're not going to Garwood Mills anymore. These shoes, they're way out of whack. And it was because they were underneath all the pinball machines. And lo and behold, Lou and I were just, but I'll never forget, the trips to the movie theater and, just hanging around with Lou. And I have one last story if we can sneak it in. We were daredevils on our bicycles. Daredevils. And our big deal was that we'd wait for the bus coming up Landis Avenue. It would stop right there at Myrtle Street and Landis. And then it would go and it wouldn't have to stop until Main Road. Well, we would go and we would ride up alongside of the bus and we would try to grab onto something and smack it and try to pull us a little bit. Oh, we were good at it and we all did it. Lou, guess what he did? He drove down way past where the bus was, turns around, he's heading toward the bus, right? And he sticks that hand out, and he just slides it right along the bus that's passing him by, going the opposite direction. Hey, Lou, any mistake there? I don't know. It wouldn't have been too pretty.
That was the prediction of the wedge.
Yeah, there you go.
No wonder there was no fear.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. How about you now, Greg Zyla, about Zyla? I think you mentioned before you played some softball with this crazy man.
Yeah, a long time ago. I remember him playing softball. Was he on your team?
Yes.
Yeah. We had some wild competitive games. Again, we had fun, but everything competitive. Like if we played in the men's softball league, Spikes High, my cousin Robert, who was an outstanding hardball player, he'd always kid me. He said, "You still playing girls softball?" I said, "Oh, come on." I said, "Come out and watch these games." I said, Spikes High, baby. I said, these games are serious. And Greg, I know you played for a long time. What, from both of you guys, memories of Greg in earlier days, what comes to mind?
I only knew of Greg. I never really became his friend during school years, but I did hear this. Sterling Ducharme could throw a football at that time. Remember Sterling?
Sure.
He could throw the football. Yeah. And they said, there's this guy over at Vineland.
Here it is.
By Greg Geraci, that's his name. You should see him throw a javelin. And I never did, for whatever reason, get to see you throw it. But, hey, you're the real deal.
Thank you.
You just said to me today that at a time in your life, you could throw the ball 80 yards.
83 yards was my best throw with a football.
Wow.
Yeah.
83.
240-some feet. That's all.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, just kind of quickly recreate to me, for me, what you said earlier about how you were introduced to the javelin. You didn't even know what the hell it was. You said, what's that thing? Tell the guys that one.
I went out for track. I was a baseball player. I played football at Memorial Junior High. I was quarterback. And played baseball. And Chapman, he's a coach at
right.
They recruited me for playing baseball, right?
Yeah.
When I get to high school. Back then, high school was 10, 11, and 12. So I was pretty good in baseball. My whole thing, I wanted to be a professional ball player. Was I a Mike Trout? Not even close. But I felt that I would maybe one day, God willing, I might be able to do that. So my whole set was playing baseball. So at lunch, had all my buddies in the homeroom. They're all going out for track. I don't know anything about track. You run, I was pretty fast, but I never knew anything about throwing whatsoever. So they had, in the hallway here, they had baseball and they had track and field. I remember that. And they had you signed up, right? So right by the coach's office and by the gym teacher's office. So nobody's in the hallway. So I go there. I said, well, you know what? Let me go hang with my buddies. I'll do track. I signed a thing, put the pencil on a string, hang it there. I took about 5, 6 steps this way, and Chapman was a Southern guy, right? He said, boy, get back here. I said, oh, my God, I'm looking up like this, you know. I got cool. He said, what'd you do? He said, you're supposed to sign over here to baseball, left side, you're over here on the right side. I couldn't look at him. He said, don't tell me to go out for track. I go like that. I said, yeah. He said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. You're not going to like it because all you're going to do is run. Never say anything about throwing because I didn't know anything about throwing either, right? So he said, I'll give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks you don't like it, come back, you can play ball. I said, okay. So I'm out there running. You know how I used to have. We had to make a team back then, right?
Right.
So and I was a sophomore. So these guys, they're running. They know what they're doing. You know, I wasn't as fast as Lou and Bobby Garcia was your
Bobby, yeah.
Run, remember
right.
Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to run. I knew I was fast, but I didn't know how to run. So we're going around. I'm going with the 400, 440 coming around over here, and I get to 110 yards to go. I'm beating everybody now. I said, well, this is cake, you know. I make that bend to come home, man. It was like I hit a block wall.
in the 400?
Oh, my God. I was going like that, and boom, this guy's passed me, this guy's passed me. 5, 6 guys passed me. So I tried this for everything, you know. And so Coach Cost at the time, he goes, look, he says, you have to stay with the pack. Let them lead the way. You like draft off them. Watch what you mean draft. You stay behind them. And when they start to go, you go. Sounds easy. So, okay, I'm listening to him. So they're coming around over here. Get up to 3:30 mark. I had to go 110 yards to go. They take off. So I said, well, this is cake, man. Boom, I started blowing by these guys. Down, ahead of them. I probably had about maybe 80 yards to go. So I figured, I'm going to make the team. All of a sudden, that block wall comes up again. Boom, this guy passed me. I'm in 6th place. I said, that's it. I gave it 2 weeks. So my mind now, I'm going to go play ball. I can go play ball, right? So I'm walking down about halfway where they used to have the high jump. Not the high jump, but the long jump.
Long jump, yeah.
You did a long jump too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember that. And there was a guy named Cummines. I forget his first name. He's in the middle of the field throwing a javelin. I didn't know what it was. So I stopped. I just stopped. I don't know why. It amazed me.
Then you even said, like, what are those sticks? Then you almost stick, like you didn't know what they were.
I didn't know what it was. And he's looking at me. He says, what are you looking at? I said, what's that stick? He says, not a stick, it's a javelin. What do you do with it? He says, you run, you throw it. He said, why? You can do it? I said, I don't know. To me, it looked like a big dart. Because my dad and I used to play darts down the base with 3 fingers. I'd throw it like this, you know. So he's trying to show me how to hold it, trying to show me all these different steps to do. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, this is all Greek to me, man. And I'll try it. So I'm tossing the javelin. I'm beating him. I said, okay, thanks. He said, no, wait. He says, I think Oswald Hanna and Jimmy Finelli.
Yeah.
Jimmy Finelli was the top guy at the time for that. And Oswald Hanna. And then there was this guy, I forget his name, Cummines, but I forget his first name. He says, you're beating me. I've been throwing for 3 years. Well, I says, really? He says, yeah. He says, so I said, well, who's the top guy? I said, Jimmy Finelli just got done doing the discus. Because he would do the high jump,
right.
the discus, and the javelin.
All the field.
Great basketball player, too.
Right.
I was telling you before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they come down there to try to make this team now. So Coach Gaynor, who was my algebra teacher, and he was the throws coach for the team. Remember Bill Gaynor? He goes, Jurace, he says, I thought you were going to go play ball. I said, I am. But what are you doing here? He said, and Cummines says, Coach, you don't even know how to throw this thing. He's beating me. He said, well, you go last. He said, I'm going to have everybody else throw. And, go ahead, do it. So I'm watching these guys do all these cross steps. I was clueless. I had nothing. So Finelli comes down there. He throws one throw, 140 feet, sits down. Nobody's even near. The other guy's 120-something, right? 130. Gaynor goes, all right, let me see what you got. So now I'm trying to do the cross steps, and I was like tripping over myself. He said, how do you beat him? I was just coming down just throwing. Well, do that. Okay, so now I got my adrenaline pumping. I go down there 145 feet. I beat Finelli. So now I'm all happy. I'm number 1 guy. I made a team. So Bill Gaynor was, about 6'3", 6'4", big man. So I'm all happy now, right? And I'm looking at him. I said, Coach, what's the school record? He looks down at me and says, don't even think about it. He says, you're too small, you'll never get it. So now my bubble went poof, it busted, right? I'm saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to play ball. I said, you know what? I'm going to prove to you that I can get the school record. And Gene Andrews, I don't know if you remember Gene Andrews, remember him? He was like 6'5", 215. And the school record was his record, 215.1. So now I'm thinking to myself, maybe he's right. But you know what? Something says, keep going, keep going, keep going. So I practiced. By the end of my sophomore year, I was throwing 186 feet. Finelli quit halfway through the season because he couldn't beat me no more. And Oswald Handy, I think he was up around 160-some. And then I was me. I was the number one guy. So I went to the Vineland Library that summer, and it was on 6th Street, right? And I went there and got a book about throwing. There was no computers back then to see what's happening like now, right? So I got this library book, and it was $10. I didn't buy it. It was a nickel a day fine, right? So I took it out to the cornfield behind my house when I lived on East Island there. The farmer had a cornfield, and I would sit up there and I was throwing this dirt road maybe 3 times a day, all summer long. Put the book down over here, and I see these guys over here with pictures drawn. I try to mimic them. And I started filming, hitting the irrigation pipes and everything else. And when I heard the farmer's truck come, I'd have to run back in my yard because I didn't want him to know I was back there. Make a long story short, now I'm starting to understand stuff. Boom, 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 I'm hitting it. My junior year, I go 200 feet 1 inch out of the state. I took second in the state that year. So now my flyer's lit. I got 14 more feet. I got another year to go. I said, I want to be state champion. You know, I'm going to do it. And I pushed myself, and Gene Andrews' dad would come to all my track meets with my father. He said, your son's going to get my son's record. And Gaynor wasn't saying nothing. Then we went to a place, it was Hasbro High School. They had I think it was like a Meet of Champions type of deal. It was actually Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And we went to that, and it rained, and we're riding up there, and Clem Jones and Lemon Handy, and Andy Harp, us 4 guys went up there for this meet. So I had to go to the bathroom. So up on the top they had the record over here, and it was like for that meet was like 220. So Clem Jones goes out, walking out, he taps the board, he says, you're going to get that today. I said, all right. So I'm mad because we got there late. I get to the thing, the last call, warm-ups. I didn't get a warm-up. They wouldn't give me no warm-up because I got there late. So now I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm just going to, if I get hurt, I get hurt. Boom. I go down there, I threw the thing, set the school record, 222.9.
Wow.
Sat down, didn't throw no more. So Gaynor says, you got more throws. I said, no.
I don't need them.
I said, no. I was mad because we got there late. And I should have thrown. God knows where I might end up throwing that day. But anyway, make a long story short, I got the school record, and it's been there now.
Look at that.
Since 1969. So what's that? 53 years now.
Think about that. If you didn't take your intuition, all right, and you didn't follow, and all this is just a decision. It's a decision you made and not to do this and to do that.
Yeah.
And a coach was involved,
right.
and that changes your whole life, changes your direction.
Yeah.
You called me.
I did to drive my car.
He called me one time and he said, "Lou, you want to drive?"
Yeah, you could have done it.
Yeah, well, I could have. But I'm just saying, okay.
That would be the only thing faster than you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted him to drive my funny car, my real race
okay.
car, not just a car. And, well, I think we were going to try it, but then I sold the car. My wife at the time got pregnant in 1980, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to,
But you see, the competitive zeal that you guys have, and I have the advantage of your guys. Maybe you can see it on TV, but I'm looking in their eyes. Their eyes are sparkling and they're jumping.
What was that competitive veal?
Zeal, not veal.
Yeah.
He's hungry.
I'm thinking,
No, he's not.
I haven't eaten.
I haven't eaten anything. We were going to get pizza. I don't know what happened.
We won't go to the vocabulary section of this night, but I'll tell you what. We're going to take our last break and then kind of give a little nice goodbye to everybody. You guys were fantastic, but we're going to take a short break, George, and then we will conclude this amazing. Hey, Jim, we almost did 2 hours, Pally. You all right? You can invite us back. We're supposed to do an hour. What the hell? Listen, you're amongst friends. Let's take a break.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans, and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Well, Wildflower Vegan Cafe is one of the longest-running all-vegan eateries in the state, and the only one in South Jersey to feature so much local and organic produce, where everything is made in-house from scratch. We have a small seasonal menu that changes frequently. We can always find healthy, hearty salads, wraps, soup, and baked goods, all made in-house.
In South Jersey, we do things our own way. We say things out loud, face things head on, and never back down. And that's how we fight cancer. With the most advanced diagnostics, leading-edge technology, and a team of doctors who know how to treat your cancer. And most importantly, we do it right here at the Frank and Edith Scarpa Cancer Center, Vineland, and the Leading Edge Cancer Center, Mullica Hill.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Are you ready to go green and cut down on your electric bill? Then there is only one call you need to make. Soaring Solar is your complete source for solar, including new roof installations. Soaring Solar is a veteran-owned and family-run company. Call the Soaring Solar family today and talk with one of our solar consultants. For a free estimate, call Soaring Solar today at 609-270-7759. Or find them on the web at www.soaringsolar.com.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this even a tenth as much as I enjoyed it. You were exposed tonight to some really fine guys here who had great careers. They mastered all types of roadblocks that might have been in front of them, and they just went for it. And you saw even the roots could be something as simple as Greg Zyla talking there about, you know what, we were competitive with the pinball machines, and it went from there.
Yes.
The Lou Piccone party has just started. The dinner is tomorrow night. As I mentioned, 6 o'clock, Eastland Golf Course and Greenview Inn. They still can get a few tickets if you want to jump in on that. It's 856-692-1111, and you will talk to the great Sheena Santiago. Tomorrow morning at 11 at Southwest Avenue and Montrose Street. Yes, they're going to name that street after this fine man, Lou Piccone. God bless him. And Saturday over in Bridgeton at the All Sports Museum of Southern New Jersey. Again, October 1st, 10 a.m. Lou and Greg Zyla will be inducted into their magnificent Hall of Fame. Please try to come out to that. I know you'll love it. And in the meantime, we have two more special guests here, right standing in back of Greg there. In fact, you mentioned about his successful driving.
Yes, that's my son. He's 32 years old, Tim Zyla. He's now the managing editor of a daily newspaper in central Pennsylvania, and Tim is also a two-time IHRA drag racing champion in the pro class, which I brought up earlier. So I'm glad he can be here and watch everything and be here for the induction and the dinner.
May I add, third generation. I knew your grandfather very well, Mike Zyla. In fact, some of you older folks out there might remember Mike with the Daily Journal for many years, a highly respected man,
yes.
a genius of a man, Mike Zyla. Third generation, you're making them all proud, Pally.
Thank you.
And Lou, who you got the arm around over there?
This is my wonderful wife, Joanne. You know, and she makes me so happy. She's my hero also.
Well, you're mine.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Mutual love affair. It is hero to hero.
Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful. It's
I'm
all
proud
beautiful.
Of him. Proud of him.
It's all great. Folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to thank Jim Quinn for allowing us to be here. We started here at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we're going to be here until 4 in the morning. No, we did a good 2 hours, almost 2 hours. Flew by for me. I hope you folks at home also got to enjoy it. And again, you heard me say all the events coming up. Come out and meet these guys. Come out and you got a ton of things you can still check out. And Lou, you're a folk hero in Buffalo. We know that. You're a folk hero too, pal. We haven't forgotten you, baby.
Well, thanks, baby. And it's a real pleasure. I love my home. Coming back to my hometown. I love seeing people. It's all about family. And Vineland is my family. Cumberland County is my family. My family grew up here. I grew up here. And all the love. And I hope to see a lot of people tomorrow night. Come on out and let's celebrate family.
He said it all. Can't top that. Good night, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You guys did a great job.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.